Hi, I'm Jacob Groe, and for this part of the muted group theory, we are going to look at masculine power to name experience. Now, you may be asking, what is that? What is the masculine power to name experience? Masculine power to name experience is since men own the mode of expression, like the speech and the text, the words that we use in centered around language, they name the experience. Thus, women's experience is underrepresented in language. A good example of this is sports metaphors. It's in the PowerPoint as well. But the one used in the book is, I think it's a really great example, is a level playing field. And so it highlights that not only, of course, women don't get a level playing field, they also have to operate. The phrase itself is geared towards men. It's a sports metaphor. It's, geared to appeal to men, to us. And if women were wanting to expand on that idea or to have a conversation about that idea, they might say, oh, because men cheated the game, or, women aren't allowed in the game, something like that, something of that nature. She would have to frame the discussion in a masculine way. And that's what that means as far as naming experiences. The language that we use and the conversations that we have is centered and geared towards men, even if we don't realize it or perhaps don't intend to do it even. This happens often in our societal structure and the world we live in. That just means that when interacting with others, even the thoughts that people have, how we operate, it all follows the structure of these societal norms. We all expect, the language to be centered around men. And so in the book, I'm just going to quote it here. She says that this is Kramer Ray. She says that the words constantly ignored may eventually become unspoken and perhaps even unthought. After a while, muted women may even come to doubt the validity of their experience and the legitimacy of their feelings. That's on page 463. And so what that's saying is, excuse me, what's that saying is, we have these words, we have this language that's all centered around men, and even if we do have language that's centered around women or that represents women, oftentimes it's ignored or unused to the point of irrelevancy, just because men still control that conversation. They pick and they choose what words we're going to use, and what words are represented in our language. And then the muted part of this muted group theory applies the focus on the speech and the communication. The voices are muted. And that is true. It's present in other ways, which we'll expand on later in this presentation. But when we talk about our language that's structured around men, as the textbook says as well, when women try to overcome this inequity, the masculine control of communication places them at a tremendous disadvantage. Man-made language aids in defining, depreciating, and excluding women. Women are thus a muted group. That's on page 460 from Kramer Ray. And so that's, it's a really good way to summarize it and to show what this concept is, and especially when it ties to language. When we define something and when we explore something, it's always geared towards men. And this means that women are underrepresented in these discussions and in our society. For example, if we're addressing a group informally, and we've all been guilty of this at times, it says, hey guys, or how's it going, or what's up bros, or something like that. This automatically excludes women. And even if women are present in the room, they're not being represented, even if they're being addressed. And another part of it is there's more words to describe women negatively in conversation than there is for men. A good example of this is to describe a sexually open man. There's only 22 words versus 200 for women. There's even whole genres of words that describe women negatively that don't really have a male counterpart. This is represented in the book as conversational. There are many words to describe a woman's conversation in a negative tone, like, oh, she's shrill, or they're catty, or something like that. It's a way to marginalize women through language, and there's not really any negative words that describe men's conversation. The only one I can really think of is mansplaining, but that doesn't really that it's not really connected to just a regular conversation. And so there's oftentimes women's opinions, observations, or even discoveries are overlooked, dismissed, or stolen by men. This has been happening throughout all of history. So that's about the masculine power to name experience. And yeah, that's my part of the presentation.